Okay, so today I'm going to talk about minding your own business, about creation, and about a typical pattern that I see in humanity that causes people to stay stuck for, unnecessary periods of time. And basically, the idea is that we have a very high tolerance for distraction. A great line in the Course in Miracles is, "You are far too tolerant of mind wandering." And I completely agree with that. And I think that people would do well to contemplate that statement. You are far too tolerant of mind wandering. So you go about your day and you're just blah, 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 blah. And some people say you can't do anything about, the thoughts that arise and you have no control. And that has some truth to it, except that when you press yourself into reality, right? When you press yourself in, when you literally feel your energy filling out this moment, the mind does stop and you feel yourself radiating into your reality. So, but people are just, they have this kind of low-grade addiction to distraction, and there's just kind of this epidemic of lack of focus in the world. And for some people, that can look like being very involved in all of the, let's say you have emotional whirlpools, around you, maybe your family, your friends, right? You have dramas in your life and you're always like paying attention to them. What's wrong? Oh, I have to call this person and make sure like their issue has been cleaned up, or I have to check on this, or it's like all of this mediocre energy of drama, like you stay connected to it because fundamentally you might have a fear of aloneness, of you might not be able to be with yourself truly in some situations unless you are connected to something familiar. So why do we stay distracted? Why do we stay distracted? Because it's familiar to us. Why do we do anything other than be present? Because it's familiar to us. So distraction is a way that we keep ourselves safe, right? So that could look like, just being kind of concerned with like people in your life, or needing updates from people in your life. And that, a lot of people call that like being polite. But if you really look at it, at where it's coming from you, a lot of times it's just this place of distraction and this place of boredom where you have to basically stimulate yourself in some way to feel alive, because you're afraid of going into the silence. You're afraid of going into silence or aloneness in some form. So you avoid it by distracting yourself. The obvious main culprit in this, and what is perpetuating this unfortunate pattern, is the addiction to social media. Social media, it is the ultimate perpetuator of mediocrity, in my opinion, because first of all, while it has plenty of positive aspects, it really promotes comparison, right? Even people that are aware of that, they still tune into it, and they're still addicted to feeling inferior to other people. It also perpetuates just this dull, low-grade, like numbed out feeling, where this scrolling and this looking at other people's lives, I mean, what good is it doing you, right? It might inspire you, it might give you ideas about what you might want in your life, right? But other than that, in order to get that value out of social media, it doesn't require much attention, right? Oh, that looks like a great vacation I want to go on. Oh, cool. Maybe I'll look at that hotel in the Maldives. Maybe I'll look at, etc., etc. You don't need to be tuning into other people. And what I feel energetically from social media is really like a literal fogging of the third eye. The third eye, when it is clear, it helps us see ourselves as we are, the radiance of God, and life as it is, which is this universe, this metaverse of light, right? And what I feel, at least when I tune into it, like Instagram, for example, it dulls something in my energy. It dulls vision. And so I do not tune into it. I tune into it to a very minimal degree. And so if you think about, for example, the scientists of this world who have made amazing breakthroughs, right? Whether it's Einstein, whether it's like amazing musicians, what is genius, right? Genius is focus. Genius is a non-personal phenomenon because genius is just the nature of source. Source is source. God is God. God is genius. God is genius is what creates the metaverse, right? We are that. But we get distracted by all this mediocrity orbiting in our reality, and we give our attention to nothing, right? Meanwhile, the scientists and the artists are absorbed in deep questions in life, and they are, many people considered Einstein or Picasso to be, not very nice people, which I'm not advocating being so absorbed in your life that you miss out life called the other people in your life, right? I'm advocating a balance between being in love with what you're passionate about, and also like realizing the magical and mystical nature of the whole universe, meaning every single person in your life is the whole universe. Everything is the whole universe. So there's a balance between staying focused in your stream of consciousness and enjoying life, right? Maybe some of those people didn't do that. I can't honestly speak for them. But why were they so able to create like these breakthroughs and these new understandings? Why did scientists even ask mystics like Krishnamurti about the universe? Because Krishnamurti was so absorbed in this moment and so aware of the machinations of the mind that he understood how the universe worked, because he wasn't distracted by politics or by gossip or by blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying that politics is necessarily a distraction. Maybe you are a being who's programmed to be very passionate about politics, and maybe bringing light into that structure in that institution, maybe that's what lights you up. But one of the major patterns that keeps people living just these kind of lackluster lives, and this is not a judgment, this is a feeling reality, right? This is a feeling reality. We, while having a family and working and living like the mundane life is a beautiful and mystical thing. Like, there is really no hierarchy of experience, right, on a philosophical level, because everything is the universe. Everything is incredibly mystical. Yet there's a reason why that life might feel caged to you, right? It's because you're a conduit of genius, and your ability to create, your ability to contribute, your ability to create, right, to funnel genius into the world and experience yourself as a creator is so great. And we stifle it with ideas like, oh, well, creating and desire is that means that we're prisoners in this reality, and the whole point is to transcend desire, which I disagree with. Desire is a movement of ourselves. We are supposed to transcend the idea that desire can make us suffer, right? Desire doesn't have any ability to make you suffer, because if you don't allow the fact that you don't have something right now, right? If you're present in this moment, you feel no lack. yet there's still this movement of desire moving through you because you're part of evolution. You're part of the genius of evolution and creation. So things will move through you and come through you. But we stifle our creative flow, and we dam our energy, and because we give our attention to mediocrity. And the typical ways that that manifests is that, particularly if you are an empathic person, you might get swept away in, like, again, this is not a judgment, but I hear some people who give energy forecasts. Literally, their message every single time is, oh God, are you feeling all that? Do you feel all that? Stuff is crazy right now. Stuff is crazy right now. Stuff is intense right now. Do you feel all the intensity? It's like, yeah, there's like stuff going on. There's intensity going on. But if you think about the Einsteins and the Elon Musks and the Beethovens, and like, they're extraordinarily sensitive to the ethers, yet they're not so concerned with all the information in the universe that they get distracted from their focus, right? Like, I am a very, very empathic being, but I have learned that the more empathic one is, right? If you want to live a balanced life, and by balanced life, I mean a balance between being and being receptive and expressing, you have to focus, right? You have to focus. And so one of the ways, have some discipline. Even though effort is of the separate self, discipline, I feel, is an inspiration of source to align itself with its own genius. So what does that mean? Disconnect from mediocrity. Don't be so involved in all the dramas around you. Don't tune into drama just because you're bored. Don't numb out and scroll around the internet. Be aware and available to your own life, right? If you have nothing to do, like, connect to your heart and like connect to your higher self. Connect to your higher self, right? Feel that tube of light. Feel a tube of light from your heart all the way up to your higher self, and connect your throat and your brain to the higher self and let it speak through you. Automatic right. Like, paint. Let energy come through you. Let energy come through you. Rearrange your clothing, right? Organize your room, right? Let energy express through you. Don't just get bored and then feel the need to focus on just any random thing in your environment, because you can't be still enough to get through that little gate of like uncertainty and boredom and aloneness. But seriously, if you sat in a chair and closed your eyes and just allowed yourself to be still, your body will get up and move. Your body will get up and do something, because source is always creating, right? You don't have to be afraid of stillness, stuckness, aloneness, boredom, because if you're in alignment with the energy of life, it's always creating. And when you're truly available to it, it feels amazing. So seriously, like, this is a strong message. And because it's so easy to just slip into what's familiar, like, oh, let me numb out and stay distracted. But let me tell you something, on the other side of distraction, if you can locate, become aware, if you can raise your desire to be aware of how you allow yourself to just slip into distraction and just stop it, right? Allow yourself to become aware of where you become distracted, become aware of the energy you're avoiding that leads to yourself slipping into distraction. Maybe it's that you don't want to feel something. Maybe you feel anxious. Okay, go into it then. Go into it. If you have a habit of feeling anxious and then your solution is to distract yourself. That might work temporarily, right? Distracting yourself will work temporarily to relieve the anxiety, but that leads to like this drained, numb feeling where if you just went into the anxiety right here and now, and you realize like, oh, it might feel like a tightness in my lungs, it might feel like static on my skin, and I just die to it and give myself to it and breathe into it, it will transform into more bandwidth for genius to use to express into your reality. So that's my message for today. Locate where you get distracted. Have a desire to go beyond it. Have a desire to go into the feeling that leads you into those patterns and habits of distraction. Cut those habits, and what you will find is that automatically you have so much more power. And by power, I mean alignment with the universe, which is genius. Have a good day.